so excited to be with you today talking about one of my absolute favorite topics. We are going to jump right into being nourished, renewed, and fortified. And this is my favorite topic because energy is so important to me. It's the thing I've probably struggled with the most in my life. It's the thing I'm most passionate about. So we're going to jump right in, and we're going to talk about 5 ways to fortify our bodies. We're going to understand that toxicity creates the deficiency. We're going to talk about digestion and health just briefly because how incredible was that? And enhancing nutritional absorption and why it's so important for our body to run smoothly, our hormones to convert, and other body processes to really work, including our ability to detox. We're going to talk about strengthening mitochondrial function and your detox pathways, as well as supporting our emotional well-being, which can often be the difference between detoxing and not detoxing. So let's go back in time a little bit to the 1950s. An apple in the 1950s contained the same nutrition that 100 apples today. Pretty scary, right? Does anybody know why? This is why. In the 1950s, they started putting chemicals and synthetic fertilizers due to the abundance of petrochemicals left over from the war. They wanted to turn a profit and use these. They also were dealing with pests, and they wanted larger agricultural yields, and they were also dealing with weeds, and it was very laborious to pull weeds. And so they brought in these miracle chemicals, and what happened is yes, pesticides and insecticides kill pests. They also kill microbiome, and that just happens to be absolutely central to our ecosystem. It's also essential to the immune system of our planet, to our species, for the biodiversity of our entire planet. It is so important. So when these chemicals came in and destroyed all these different microbes, it destroyed the immune system of our soil and the soil's ability to turn nutrients into bioavailable absorbable nutrients for the food to uptake, and for us to be able to then eat that food and our cells turn that into energy, and for our DNA to take that information and convert it into who we are today, which is, unfortunately, we have a lot of issues, don't we? Our health is declining in the USA. It's actually becoming an epidemic. We have obesity, we have cancer, we have a lot of these things that are really, really thriving right now. And we see a very unhealthy planet. So because of that, doTERRA has brought in things where we can focus on nourishing our bodies. So our bodies have exactly what they need at exactly the right times in a bioavailable form. The other thing that's important to really understand about these different chemicals is glyphosate in particular downregulates 291 enzymatic processes in the body. So we're not just talking about bacteria and microbes that our body needs and that our soil needs. We're talking about our body's ability to have energy and for the enzymatic processes to do what they need to do in order to absorb our nutrients. Now, the microbes is just one piece. Let's talk about toxicity. All toxins, not just the ones that we use for chemical farming, but all toxins steal nutrients from cell receptor sites. One example of that we just talked about was glyphosate. It steals from zinc receptor sites, and it can chelate zinc out of our soil, but also out of our body. So it's not just about our farmers. It's also about our HOAs. It's about our parks. It's even about our kids at school that are being exposed to these harmful chemicals that are actually causing neurological problems. Now, the other thing that can happen with things like chlorine bleach or swimming, anything cleaners we have in the home that we're cleaning our floor with and walking, absorbing through our feet, chlorine, for example, can steal iodine receptor sites, necessary for so many processes in the body, including thyroid, our master gland. So, what has doTERRA done? They've brought in an incredible product with vitamins, minerals, and greens, as well as antioxidants. We have a 3-in-1. Up to 95% of Americans are deficient in one or more nutrient. Is that surprising, considering we'd have to eat 100 apples to get the nutrition value of an apple from the 1950s? So we've also found that about 40% of the population have genetic variants that make it harder to actually detox synthetic vitamins. So it is super important that we have a whole food from the earth, organic source, organic meaning it's food. It's something that the body can recognize as opposed to a synthetic vitamin. So about 40% of the population is not able to recognize and utilize synthetic vitamins at all, right? Then how important is it that everyone have the opportunity to be able to use their vitamins? On top of this, doTERRA has brought in a really bioavailable form to absorb with the essential oil delivery. That's why we say we are wellness powered by essential oils. What they found when they tested vitamin and minerals in petri dishes is they found the petri dish that had the essential oils, or the liposomes, drove the nutrients into the cell where your body can actually use it and your mitochondria can actually use it. We're going to actually talk about mitochondria next, but first, let's jump into a little bit of the ingredients that are in this powerful pack. So we have 4 different specialty areas in here. We have a superfood blend with greens. Greens are incredible because they help chelate and detox at the same time as containing essential nutrients for our body to utilize. And then we have the fermented biodiversity with the bacteria and the fermentation built in. So again, our body can recognize the nutrients just like the soil needs the bacteria to turn the minerals into consumable micronutrients for our body. We also need that within our own cells. We need the microbes to go in and drive the nutrients into our cells. That's, again, the immune system of our planet is through the biodiversity. And so being able to bring this in and connect us to the way that our ecosystem works in the earth and bring that into exactly the way our bodies were designed, just the way that the ecosystem of the earth was designed. Our bodies really do mirror the earth. I actually think it's possible that the amount of water we have in our body is equivalent to the amount of water in the planet. I'd have to fact check that. But as you can see, we are a reflection of our planet. Then we have our cellular support blend and, of course, the biotransformational blend. So it's an incredible, powerful punch. And when you bring in these antioxidants, they help protect the cell against environmental damage. So not only are we driving nutrients in with a bioavailable way, we are also going with the methylated vitamins so that we're not using synthetics. And then simultaneously, we're putting off antioxidants in the body to protect our cells against free radical damage. If you've ever cut an apple, you'd recognize that it turns brown very quickly from oxidation. Speaking of apples, that's what happens to our cells when they're exposed to free radical damage. So being able to have something in our bodies that we can take daily to protect ourselves against these free radicals is amazing, and it's all in one supplement. I do not know of a supplement like this on the market, and it is a 10 out of 10. Go doTERRA. I'm going to just spend just a little bit of time on here because you guys had such a great presentation just now from Anne. We know that we need great biodiversity, and what's important to realize is that it has declined over years, and that is why we supplement. Also, some of us have adverse childhood events, and studies show that if you have more than 7 adverse childhood events, your ability to produce your own digestive enzymes can decline. So it's really important that we have a supplement for those of us that have trouble with digestion or low enzymatic protection, or for those of us that just need an extra boost due to adverse childhood events. Let's talk a little bit about the methylation cycle, which is the battery or the energy of the cell engine. In order for us to turn over cells quickly when we're unwell, we need a healthy, functioning mitochondria. I cannot think of a better supplement than the Mito2 Max. This is how we support our mitochondria: CoQ10, PQQ, alpha-lipoic acid, the nootropic blend, the cordyceps. These are excellent for turning on the cell engine. So I take this. This is actually my first thing I take when I need more oxygen to my brain, need more energy, not just for my workouts, not just when I'm sluggish, but also if I'm feeling immune system threats coming on. This is also something I really love to take. So this is actually my favorite supplement from doTERRA because my favorite thing is energy. And this is what's going to give you energy, and I think it's an absolute must. I put everyone on this. Okay, let's jump into my next favorite section of supplements, which is the Zindocrine combo, which focuses on the 5 main detoxifying organs: your thyroid, liver, colon, lungs, and skin. What I love about this little Zindocrine duo is the fact that the Zindocrine oil has rosemary, which is an excellent estrogen metabolizer. Geranium, which is excellent for progesterone and when you're under a lot of stress, which can also support the thyroid. And then it also has juniper berry, which supports the kidneys and the bladder, and tangerine, which helps recycle glutathione, which is another energetic brain energy antioxidant that helps bind to different chemicals and pull them out of your body through 3 different enzymatic processes. So, powerful punch, to say the least. The Zindocrine complex has bitter herbs that are excellent for the liver. Now, speaking just briefly of the thyroid and the liver, if we can get the thyroid and the liver functioning really, really ideally in a toxic world through taking the Zindocrine and the VMG, our ability to detox and stay healthy is very much dependent on our thyroid hormone. It's the master gland. We could do a whole presentation on the thyroid, but I notice I need less supplementation when my thyroid is working better. I detox better. And over the last decade, I've actually completely healed my thyroid through lifestyle, which has been really awesome. So noticing how that affected my body and being able to use the Zindocrine as an aid to help my body's master detox system has been incredible. Emotional awareness. This is quite possibly is the number one thing that helped me transform my health in the last year. Everyone knows I'm the queen of supplementation and biohacks, if you know me. I have a sauna, I have an ozone pool, I do a lot of different biohacks. And when I started taking care and taking my emotional health really seriously, I started turning on the hormones of health as opposed to the hormones of stress. And this is what transformed my life. So, I can encourage you as well when you're dealing with emotional stressors to learn how to breathe. 70% of our detox can happen through our breath. So if you can breathe, manage your emotions, your whole detoxifying system is going to work better because we're not focused on fight or flight or high cortisol stress situations. Our body can actually focus on functioning. Hydration, just really briefly, I want to talk a little bit about how important it is if 70% of our body is water and crystallized, almost a jello-like substance of water. We want it to be utilized by the body. One of the most toxic things in our environment is our water. Unfortunately, they have to treat it so that it doesn't have bacteria and different things in it, right, that can make you sick, and thank goodness we have treatment. But we also need to have clean water for our body to actually recognize and utilize it. So I always recommend super, super clean water and add your electrolytes so you can best utilize it. This is so great for kidney and bladder health as well. So this is something that has also transformed my health in the last year. So I'm going to end with a case study. Oh, so this is my perfect tool. If you guys want to snap a little picture of that. This is my perfect toolkit for transforming your health and nourishing, renewing, and fortifying. These are my must-haves. So I love a good case study. So I'm going to tell you about a 3-year-old little boy named Frankie. So Frankie, when he was 3, had a respiratory issue. And unfortunately, mainstream could only offer Band-Aids. And when he was taken to a foundational medicine practitioner, we found that he has a sensitivity to chemicals in the air, such as herbicides, pesticides, and fragrance. We also found that he had that genetic variant. And luckily, the mother was really dedicated to a root cause approach. And so Frankie and his mother found this foundational medicine doctor. And they started working with essential oils. They started fortifying his system with proper microbes. There was a big imbalance. There were genetic components. And because of that, he was predisposed to potential neurological and behavioral issues. This child instead was raised on nutrition, biodiversity, healthy environment, healthy emotional processing. And today, you see my beautiful, almost 19-year-old Frankie as a healthy young man raised on essential oils. There he is right there. Any single ladies, any Gen Z people bring their Gen Z people? He's got a lot of Riz, they say, these days. And he uses essential oils, so little plug there. But he is somebody that takes care of his health. He is somebody that doesn't vape because he knows how important it is to not breathe in toxins, especially when you have a history, right? He told me today, he says, Mom, I know you've told me 1,000,000 times why I need methylated vitamins, but somebody just described it to me, and now I really get it. I thought, maybe whoever just told you that, maybe they should be up here describing this because, and then my husband reminded me, honey, he has this thing where he just turns it off when you start talking. But anyway, when it's important, he really listens. But the methylation story he's been listening to for too long. So thank you guys so much for being with us today and learning about your body, learning about biodiversity, learning about our soil health, our nutrients, and really appreciate you all. And I know you're tired. If everyone wants to jump up and take a little wiggle to give yourself a little energizing and take your Mito 2 Max and peppermint, you guys will be energized for the rest of the afternoon. Thank you very much.